What's going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. Welcome, brand new Poker Live podcast. My name is Joey Ingram, aka Chicago Joey. Before today's podcast, guys, tomorrow on the podcast, Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to be having on one of my favorite people from Twitter. His name's Ed Lattimore. This guy's a heavyweight boxer. He's an author. He does speeches. He talks about self-improvement and those kind of topics. The content he puts out is some of my favorite content in the entire world. Super excited to have Ed on tomorrow. And also just want to let people know I'm updating on my Instagram story and my Instagram page at PoppyGTO on a daily basis. If you want to follow what's going on in the poker world, if you want to laugh, if you want to cry, if you want to love, sometimes I take my shirt off in the story, then, well, we're all dudes, so no one's interested in that. But yeah, check it out on there. And that's it, man. Joining me today on the podcast is a young man who plays the beautiful game of two-card pot limit Omaha, aka no limit hold'em. He plays some of the highest stakes on Pokerstars. He's a man who, he only started playing online poker, it looks like, in the past few years. And a lot of people tell me it's impossible for someone who started in the past few years to really rise up the ranks and become one of those top players. But somehow this man has done it. We're going to find out more about his story, talk to him more about life, about love, about the great game of poker. We got Makeboifin. I think I'm saying that name right. I feel like I put more emphasis on the boy, Makeboifin. I don't know how do you say your name, Marcus?
I mean, I just say Makeboifin.
You don't say Makeboifin?
No, no. It's like boy is basically a boy, like actual, like that. All the Russians call me like Boyfin when like Makeboifin basically means like make is my nickname and boy is a boy. And Finn is from Finland.
Well, I thought there was a great grand story behind the name. I felt like there'd be I couldn't even speculate. People say, what does his name mean? I go, well, Finn, probably from Finland. Okay. Yeah. Boy, he's a man. All right. Makes sense. Maybe he made it when he was a boy. I don't really know. And then make.
That's the part that confuses all the guys.
Yeah, that's the one. So when did you start playing poker, man? When did you start playing online?
I think I started maybe like 4 years ago, maybe 4.5. Yeah, I think 4.5 years ago. I had a bunch of free time. I just got enrolled in the uni, and I figured like I need a hobby, so I found 2+2, and I think Deuce is cracked. And then I just started like reading all the like sticky posts at 2+2, and somehow started improving. I mean, at the start there was like a lot of struggle, but I think like I maybe like played on my like without knowing anyone from poker, maybe like 6 to 9 months, and then at this point I was stuck at maybe like NL25 something, and I read about all this coaching stuff and stables, and obviously I applied into one of the stables, and somehow I got accepted in there, and that was like probably the like biggest pivoting point in my poker career, because I think like coaching is super valuable, and from there it's just been kind of smooth cruising to high stakes with some downswings along the line. But yeah.
So 4.5 years ago, you started playing. You found 2+2, one of the top poker forum, in my opinion. That's actually the place I started online poker back in 2007. As I found 2+2, I found that information on there as well, and then started. I got in the community pretty quickly and started meeting people, and that really helped me. So for yourself, what's I guess tell people what stakes you play right now. What's sort of your regular grind and sort of what is what's like a day in the life of poker for you look like?
I mean, nowadays I play mostly like 2K plus up to 10K, but there's not that much like 5K, 10K action. So it's like mostly 2K, sometimes 1K, but kind of those stakes. But like I've never been like huge volume grinder, so I'm fine playing like 3-4 tables of like high stakes. And yeah, I'm kind of new at the like high stakes. I think I started playing at the start of this year. I think I started playing more like 5K and 10K. So I'm kind of new at those stakes, but it's been going pretty fine. So
Are you part of the battles going on between OTB Red Baron, Linus Love, Dino Supremo? Are you in the mix for that, or is that like the next level up from where you're at right now, or where do you feel like you're at with your own personal online progression?
I mean, I haven't been battling that much. I at the start of the year I started like playing 2K like battles, but it's not really battling when I'm just like playing the one table to hold the lobby. And then this month I started like playing more 5K like reg battles. Well, when I say reg battles, I mean like I play the one table to hold the lobby. Except if there's like some times, like today was probably like one of the few times. Like there was when I woke up today, there was like Stefan 11222, Ed Spatula, and God of HU, and also Secret Mode. I think he's the tournament guy. Darius.
Wait, you call God of HU, you call him God of HU. It's God of Heads Up. You don't call him God of Heads Up.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, those guys were playing like 4 tables of 5K, so I figured like, why not join in? And then later in the day, Undero for some reason wanted to play like 3 tables of 5K. I'm like, okay, sure. But that's not something I do like regularly. Like mostly I just bum hunt. That's what is the smart thing to do.
So why do you think that? I mean, I guess when you think about bum hunting, it makes sense. Obviously, intuitive. You play against weaker players. In theory, you have a better win rate. Do you feel like you? I mean, it does sound like you enjoy the mix of battling,
Yeah.
and you enjoy, whether it's one table or 2 table. It sounds like you enjoy both, but you're not somebody who just strictly is only bum hunting the lobbies, right? You're playing in. You're playing against regular sometimes. You're trying to hold down tables. You're trying to stay in tables, but you also will bum hunt too.
Yeah, I mean, I love playing 300. Like 300 is my favorite format, but I think it's just irresponsible to like fire 4 tables of bells like when you have no guarantee to know that you're actually winning in the lineup. So like you make your money from playing against fish, unless you're like Linus. So all the other guys make their money from playing against fish.
So do you think that Linus is the top player now, or is it hard to say? Because for a while, OT Baron has always been regarded as the top player online 6 max, and I'm not sure about Heads Up, but do you feel like Linus is he? Are those two battling a lot? Are those two like neck and neck for 1-1 there?
No, I think it's not as pretty clear that Linus is the best. Like OTB is like he's not been playing too much anymore, and Linus just fucked him up last year kind of hard, I think. So I think it's pretty clear that Linus is the best right now. In 6 max, probably also in Heads Up. And apparently he's like also like really good at PLO Heads Up as well.
I think he's also good at tournaments too, because I saw in the I saw on the WQB got like 32nd. I don't know. He finally went deep in 2 big ones the last day, it seemed like. So it seems like that man is he do we know if he's a robot or not, or is he's an actual real person? Have you met him before?
No, I actually know the guy like pretty well, and he's not a robot. I'm pretty sure about this one.
Well, I've also talked to him before too, technically, but I don't think he's a bot. But listen, we're gonna have a Linus Love podcast one day, man, and an OT Red Baron podcast one day. I'll go to fucking London if I got to. I'm gonna make sure we get those on some days, because I feel like they're I don't know, people are so captivated by the guys who are, someone like the number one guy. People are always so captivated, and it kind of makes sense. And I feel like even when you take a look at your own story, though, it's pretty interesting, because we hear people say like it's not possible to make it to high stakes in a couple years. It's just so hard. And I guess from your vantage point, do you feel like it was a real hard process, or what do you feel like allowed you to be able to get to the point that you're at right now?
I mean, first of all, if you look at like high stakes nowadays, there's like all of the like top guys are pretty new. Like there's not too many like old school guys in there anymore. Like OTB is considered like old school nowadays, I think. Like all the other guys, maybe like Born to Tilt also are old school. But I think like there's like argument to be made that nowadays it's easier to get into high stakes. Maybe not easier, but like it's more possible for everyone because there's so much information out there. So if you're just willing to put in the work, like you can get there. But like I think like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, it was more like some people had figured out stuff and others haven't. So if you were not in that circle, like it was hard to like study and like learn stuff. But nowadays there's all the tools, all the information out there. Like you just need to study.
Do you feel like, thinking back on your own progression, you mentioned that coaching and being a part of that stable was one of the big turning points for you. So what sort of happened after that? How did you go from somebody who was at the small stakes being coached, and then what was sort of your progression like in terms of going from those stakes up to higher stakes?
I mean, when I joined the stable, I dropped back down to NL10, I think. And then within, I want to say 9 months, I just went from NL10 playing to playing NL1K. But my bankroll management was not great back then, and I almost went broke one time. And then I dropped. This was like a year in the stake or something, a year in the stable. Then I almost went broke. Not almost, but I mean not that close, but still like relatively big downswing from my bankroll. And then I dropped back down to NL 100, and just from there it was kind of smooth cruising. I just like every time I had bankroll to take shots at the next stake, I just like took 5 buy-in shots, and if that failed, I grinded back up on the lower stake and took 5 buy-in shots again. And I think like from when I reset them to NL 100, and then I just basically jumped to mid stakes quite easy, like NL 100, NL 200, NL 400 were kind of like easy for me, like going up. But then when I tried to move to NL 1K, that was the problem. Like I remember I was maybe shot taking that like 6, 9, 12 months. I was like my first 15K hands or something after the first like time I was at 1K. I was like 15K hands, and the graph was just like straight down, like 20 buy-ins straight down. And it's like kind of tough when you run bad when you're taking shots, because the variance can keep you down like a long time. If you're always just taking like 5 buy-in shots, it's gonna take you out, like especially when the jump from NL 400 to NL 1K, because NL 600 doesn't run that often. So it's like when you go from 400 to 1K, it's like 2.5x the increase. So if you drop like 5K at 1K, it's gonna take you like a month to recoup at 400.
Yeah, so people out there, if you're not familiar, if people aren't familiar with what he's, so NL 400 is 2.4, NL 600 is 3.6, NL 1K is 5.10, and then NL. So basically, how people, I think most people know that, but how they do it is the max buy-in. So $1,000, NL 1K, it's for 5.10. So that's sort of what he's talking about when he says something like that. I just assume everyone knows that, but then at the same time, when they play live poker, they just basically call it the stake name. They don't really call it what the buy-in is. So some people might be confused exactly what you're talking about, but now, yeah, it sounds like with your bankroll management, that was actually that was what I aspired back when I was first moving up and I was first shot taking. I love shot taking out there, and it's a little different in my life now. But back then, it was like my bankroll management was wild, and I would always shot took, and I'd always say, okay, I'm going to lose a couple buy-ins and I'll drop back down. The problem is that I never actually dropped back down once I lost a few buy-ins. So I always knew I could grind back down and make it back. I was never worried. I did it 1,000 times. I'd always take a shot, 5, 10. Man, I was such an idiot thinking back on it. I had like 15 buy-ins. I'd have 15K. I'm like, all right, 3, 6, 5, 10. Let's load up all the tables, put the roll on the table. And I'm like, it don't matter like what happens. If I lose 5K, I don't care. It doesn't make my life different. I'm down. I'm going to make back 5K. I'm going to do it again. So I kept doing this over and over and over again. And the problem was sometimes I'd lose a little bit more than, I was just an idiot thinking back on it in retrospect. But I guess for you, do you feel like you're actually good at sticking with that 5 buy-in rule when you go up and you move up and you say, okay, I'm going to shot take? And then do you have the discipline to actually stick with that when you set out to do that?
Yeah, I think I never really had like any tilt problems. Like if I had like a plan to like, I'm going to take 5 buy-in shots, then if I lost the 5 buy-ins, like I was not going to play anymore. Like I was just sit at the tables and just quit. Like I was pretty like strict about that, I think. Well, the first time, like when I went to play on 1K, the problem was that my like bankroll management was not great, and I had just had a huge upswing, and I thought I was the best. I thought I was like crushing everyone, and then when the downswing hit, like it was pretty bad.
So at what point in time do you end up breaking through past 1K and then move up to playing 2K and get to the point where you're at now, where you're playing 10, 20 on the regular?
I think last year I was, wait, I need to think about this. Maybe like so hard to think about the years because they just fly by. I think last year I started playing more 2K, and this year I started playing like 5K plus. But there's like a year where I basically only played 1K, I think. Wait. It's hard.
You're getting old, brother. Listen, man, I know when you're an old man like yourself, you know, nice 20s. The memory can go away, especially when you play poker all day long. The memory can kind of, you know, I feel like everything gets jumbled up inside. So it definitely happens.
Yeah, but it's like all the years just like fly by. Like it's just playing poker every day, and you just don't really like have any like big moments in your life that kind of. So it's just kind of same. So it's just like it's hard to like pinpoint the time, like the year I played this stake and this stake at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So when you were playing poker, is that all you do? Like, is the day basically like you just woke up, you thought you played poker, you studied, or did you do other things outside of your life as well?
Yeah, the first 2 years of my poker career, I was enrolled in uni studying engineering, and then when I was like this actually just happened when I figured like I'm gonna take the summer off, so I'm not gonna look summer job, but I'm gonna play poker. This was the exact same moment when I almost went broke and dropped back to under 100. But then, so now I've taken like 2 years of school, but I'm actually enrolled to uni now, but I'm not taking any courses at least this year. Because in Finland, we can take like 2 years of uni without giving like any notice. You just say like, I'm not gonna be in uni for 2 years, and that's that. And then you can continue. So I'm like almost finished my bachelor's at the moment, but I'm just gonna finish it one of these years.
Where do you kind of your poker goals sit right now?
I mean, play as much as I can, like while high stake is still alive. Like, who knows if high stakes no limit is gonna be around anymore in a year or two? Like, if stars fuck up some stuff, like they could just kill high stakes overnight. Like there are not that many like 5K plus games on other sides. Like Party just killed their high stakes like this year, I think, when they introduced the new lobby system. Like there hasn't been any high stakes games on Party after that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is that you know, a lot of the action is very spread out over the internet now. It's not like it was where you could just load up Pokerstars and always have enough games to play. Now you have to shop around sites, and there's like underground sites, there's shady sites, there's cheating sites, there whatever you want. I mean, there's it's sort of yeah, the landscape isn't quite what it was a few years ago. So that's actually a good point. Is you sort of have to try to make the most of the moment while you have it, and who knows how much longer, as you said, Pokerstars might make a change, and they might just, who knows, they might get rid of high stakes one day. You never really know what they might do. So
like even if like Pokerstars doesn't like kill high stakes, like the games are not going to be around for too many years anymore. It just makes sense to focus all my energy to playing poker at the moment. Like I'm never going to make as much money as I am at the moment. Like, so it's just kind of like a lot of guys just think maybe I should go back to school, but like going I don't think they're like well aware like what stakes I play. But like if you think about like going back to school and playing on the side like Jeans did, like that would cut a lot of my EV for the year. And like I think that would be like a financial suicide at the moment. Like it's not easy to play poker and also go to school at the same time.
Right.
Poker is like so exhausting game. Like every day after I'm done playing and studying, I'm like brain dead for the rest of the day. I just like look TV and go to the gym and not do much else.
So it sounds like your after grind routine is you go to the gym and you kind of just take it easy, or do you watch poker content as well too, or what are you kind of doing when you're not on the grind or you're not studying?
I mean, I don't really watch any other poker content except your podcast, which I enjoy.
Shout out to the pod.
Yep. But like after I'm done grinding and studying for the day, I go to the gym more, and on top of that, I just mostly play video games, like watch TV. But I'm not doing anything like productive for the rest of the day, basically.
Are you big into the partying? Do you go out while you're at home? You got a lot of girls coming by. I mean, do you have any distractions that you're trying to get rid of in your life right now? Or are you just kind of poker, and then more poker?
I mean, like lately it's been like mostly poker, because like I don't enjoy partying that much, because like when you are over 21 or something, the hangovers are just so bad. Like a few weeks ago, we had a housewarming party for my friend, and I haven't drank like properly for maybe a year or so, and like the hangover was unbearable. Like nowadays the hangovers, like one day you're basically brain dead, you can't do anything. Like playing poker doesn't, like you can't just do it. Except that day I actually played the WQ main event, but that didn't go well. And then after the first hangover day, you're like depressed for like 3-4 days. Like you're just feeling shit for like every day.
Wait, okay, hold on. How much are you fucking drinking, first of all? What are you doing? Like, okay, it sounds like you're a fish and you're handling it kind of fishy, because there's ways to mitigate the hangover. You have a water in between. You don't drink 35 drinks. I mean, there's like some ways you can kind of fuck around and try to battle the hangover. But for you, it sounds like you're all in. You're all in that night. You go out that night, you just get drunk and you get a little fucked up, and then.
I mean, if I go to a club, I'm not gonna be there just drinking like 3 beers a night. Like, no.
Of course not. Like, why would you? Why would you? The option to drink more is there. Why would you not have more, right?
I mean, yeah, basically. And about the hangover day, like after the housewarming party, the hangover day, it was the W Cup main, the big tournament, and I was like really unsure if I should play it, and then I ended up playing it. Like I was like super hangover, and I fired 3 bullets and was out of the tournament within like 2.5 hours. So that didn't go too well.
You know, so you sound like you have like a real fucked up story from being hungover one night. I can just tell the way you're speaking about hangovers. Like I can tell there's some sort of trauma in your voice that like something definitely just happened. You had experience. Like there was one time you felt something and then you were like, I am never want to feel this way again. So I can tell like you're speaking from the heart when it comes to this idea of combating hangovers. So I don't know. I mean, I support it, man. I support the idea of not drinking that much as you take a sip of the Corona over there. So
yeah, but like having a few beers is different than going out.
I got an important question right now, okay? And this is something I'm wondering. Other people out there are wondering this too. Is in the background you have curtains and you have a curtain rod, and the curtain rod goes over the wall. What is up with this curtain rod, and why is it not covering a window?
It's covering the what's it called? Terrace.
Terrace. Like, oh, okay. Are there blinds there? Am I missing something? Like I feel like I just see a wall and I see the curtain rod extending over.
No, but there's a door behind the curtains.
The door is behind the curtains. Okay, and then the curtain will slide out. Okay, I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, does he have a curtain rod above the actual wall back there? I mean, I'm trying to. I don't know what they do in Finland. Maybe Finland's a little different. Maybe Finland's a little different than America, I guess. But no, you mentioned about you watched the podcast, and that was what I found. You commented a lot on my podcast thread, and they said, "Oh, you should get Makeboifin on the podcast." I was like, "Oh, who's that?" I'm like, "Oh, he comments all the time in the thread," and I was like, "Oh yeah, he's literally commented for years in the podcast thread." So I find that kind of I found that quite interesting that you've been kind of someone that's listened to podcasts for a while and now playing high stakes and now on the podcast talking about getting to high stakes. That's like a pretty
yeah,
kind
that
of
was
shows how old I am now at this point too. That it's actually at that point where you may have started playing poker, found the podcast, and then built your way up through the podcast life.
yeah, that was my motivation, getting the high stakes so I can be on the board.
Listen, I don't know if that's true, but I'll take it, man. I don't know. People have said, what's your 2+2 name? People, it's like it's what are the letters at the end or the numbers at the end of it?
It's Dr. 877. It's like
Dr. 877. That's what it is. Yeah,
it's
I
like
couldn't remember the stat on my foot. It's falling asleep here. Oh no. Let me get some shouts in the chat, guys. I see you got a lot of regulars out there in the chat. People are always asking me about getting Nolan Hold'em players on here. So I'm Nolan Hold'em cash game online players, not necessarily Nolan Hold'em players, but yeah, definitely excited to be back podcasting today, guys. One question I found interesting from the chat. Question from Explode7777 is Dad Waco. I don't know how to say this guy's name. Is Dad Waco the biggest alpha male in the high stakes stars lobby?
He definitely has the sickest beard. That's my answer.
So he has the sickest beard, but would we say he's the biggest alpha male in the high stakes stars lobby?
I'm not sure about that one, but he's definitely up there. I met him at Plaza. It was kind of fun because I've been playing against. It was like it's so nice like going to these poker events because you see a bunch of the guys behind the screen names you play every day. Like I saw him, then I saw Scarface because I had a bit of beef online, and then I saw like Yasam Gale, MMA, and all the guys. It's kind of cool to like meet all the guys.
Oh, for sure. That's one of the coolest things I've ever like, especially once you play literally years or 1,000 hours with some of these guys and you finally get a chance to see them in person, especially as you mentioned, when you have beef or when you, because there was some guy, like the Cleaner 11, the Cleaner is a PL player. And I swear to God, I used to tell this guy to go fuck. I said some things in the chat I'm not proud of, guys. Looking back now in 2018, I might get like I don't know what they'd say about me, but then I met him in person and you're like, man, it's so crazy to actually see these people that you battled with or you came up with or you grinded the stakes through with. And even like Tim Stone, for example, we started playing 10 cent, 25 cent together back in the day. I think he had like a shirtless avatar. He had like a no shirt. I don't know what he's doing. He's throwing out the six packs on the Pokerstars, but and now he's I don't actually know what Tim Stone's regular game is now, but I saw him in the chat here today, so I want to give Tim Stone a big shout out there. You play with Tim Stone before?
Not really. I think he's basically quit poker and does a lot of different stuff nowadays. But I sort of know him also.
You ever seen him with his shirt off before? In a picture?
I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
Well,
he makes sure everybody's
about the thing you said about Cleaner. It's like the thing like I like so much hate Scarface online. Like he's such a fucking scumbag. Like he does this stuff like he always sometimes he joins like 300 games. Then he like we are playing 300 like 2K. Everyone else is 100 big blinds. He joins in 40 big blinds. Doesn't rebuy when he drops below 40. And he also sometimes he joins the ball and max tanks every decision, like just trying to like get everyone to tilt. Like he calls the big blind from bottom open raise. He max tanks before he checks the big blind. And like every decision, like he literally tilted the fuck out of me. And then when I meet him online, like everyone told me like he's a nice guy, and he's actually seems like a nice guy, but online I fucking hate him.
Did you have a conversation with him about these tactics that he uses?
Yeah. I told him like I obviously like don't like it, but they're allowed. So, and I know why he does it. Like he doesn't want to bell, he just wants to lobby. So it's like, sure, it's allowed. It's not against the rules, the stuff he does, but it's kind of scummy.
I'm getting tilted over here. This motherfucker short stacking. This is like the Will Casue of online poker, buying in for a short stack and tanking down every time. I mean, yeah. This guy's lucky I'm not playing with him. I'd make a video about him every day. I mean, we must ban this activity. But listen, I would lead a charge to get the rules amended if that was going on, if I was playing those games. So he's yeah, man. One more question here from I don't know if this is from Explode77. Who would win in a fight? Bit Too Easy versus Phyllis Me. I don't know how to say this guy's name either. I've seen it.
He's the only another like high stakes no limit Finnish guy. Phyllis Smith.
Who would win in a fight between Bit Too Easy and Phyllis Smith?
Yeah, they had some beef at Barcelona and online, and it was kind of awkward. But I would say I would take Bit Too Easy. Bit Too Easy is fucking ripped. He's huge. Like he's actually huge.
So they had some beef. They had some. They got into some. Barcelona sounds like things went down there, man. I remember you were telling me about the Barcelona trip. It sounds like there were some things that went down there.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
What was it like playing some live poker there? Because I think that was that one of your first times really getting in the live poker streets and trying to play some live poker?
Yeah, I was there last year as well with the same guys, and this time was the first time I actually played like live cash about like 1-1. Like when I was playing microstakes, I played some local NL 100 live games, but this time I actually like tried to play some live poker. So I played like 4 tournaments and some high stakes cash, and it was like like the live tournaments, they're obviously like horrible. Like I hate them. They're no fun at all. But live cash was actually kind of fun because in cash I actually know what I'm doing most of the time. But the tournaments, I'm still kind of like I studied tournaments, so I kind of know, but they're just not that fun. You most of the time just lose and lost out of team B.
It turns out when you win and you know what you're doing, it's a little more fun than when you have no idea what you're doing. That's
yeah, like the problem with live cash is like getting the game to run and actually getting in the game. Like I probably spend maybe like 4 days, and like during these four days, maybe like 4 or 5 hours every day, just trying to get into 10K, 20K game. Like it's just like you have to be in the casino early and join the list, and like everyone basically does. Like we also start doing it. Like one of the guys who stays at the hotel next to casino has all everyone's key cards, or what's like the thing you check into the wait list. So basically just one guy wakes up early and checks everyone into the wait list. So if you're not there early, you're just like basically have no chance to get in the game. And I was waking up like 3 p.m, so it was kind of tough getting in the game. But the 2 times I actually got in the game, it was fun. Kinda, I won some money, but the game was not that soft. Like it was not like a soft live game.
Well, you had to wait 5 hours to get in the game. Who the fuck's gonna wait 5 hours to get in the game? Like what recreational player, unless the game's built around them, is gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna wait 5 hours to go play? Like, no, they're gonna play something else.
No, but the thing was, they at least it seemed to me that they didn't even open the high stakes games unless there was like a clear recreational player. So if like they see the waitlist and just young guys, they don't open table because the most of the guys didn't want to play unless there was spot. So the only times I got into the game was basically a stars game. It was like me, Bit Too Easy, MMA, Phil Smith, Max Sang, and then one recreational, then maybe one live reg. So it was basically like a tough live game, and the other time was like basically only regs. It was also some Gale, and I think Bhaskar was also there, but he's here reg nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't sound that fun, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I've been playing a lot more live poker recently, and the biggest thing I take away is I understand why these people start their own private games, because like with waiting so long and with the politics and with these fucking bum hunters who are nits, who like are just the savages trying to get in these games and hunt on the recreational players. Like, I just think it makes sense why there's so many of these private games. And I mean, you look at your experience, what you just described didn't sound like fun. You just said you had to wake up and it took 4 to 5 hours each day to get into a game. There was one guy had to have key cards, everyone, and swipe them in. Like that doesn't sound like a very fun process.
When you get to the game, then it was kind of fun. Because
well, of course, you waited 4 hours. You're gonna have fun in that. I mean, like, you gotta have fun at that point in time. Otherwise, why are you gonna wait for so long to do it?
Yeah. Also about the bomb hunting, online bomb hunting is kind of like, it seems kind of predatory, but when you get lysine, it's like 10 times worse. It's like horrible. It's like one time I was not playing this time, but I heard like that the Spanish guys basically like table blocked all the regs that were playing, and they got like paid. I don't know what happened, but they basically like got the floor to make them a new table, and basically all the recreationals jumped to the new table over the first table. What? And the first table was like Linus and maybe too easy on the online guys.
So wait a second. The local Spanish guys started a new table and then got the amateur players at the other table to go to that table.
No. But basically, there were like no amateurs at the moment. So, but when the amateurs came, they went to the like Spanish table. So like then the first table was just like reg spelling and waiting for fish, when the fish actually went to the new table.
What the fuck, man?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, listen, I've heard stories about Barcelona. These aren't surprising to me. I've heard locals and the floor working together on run it twice or run it once deals. I mean, listen, we've heard a lot of things that have happened in Barcelona. Jeans 89 with the whole entire laptop gate, and there is story after story of things like this happening. So I can't say I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I'm glad that you had a good experience kind of playing some live poker there, because I mean, I don't know. I think live poker is fun to mix in there once in a while, and especially when you look at some of these games, like, I sent you the link the other day about the Triton poker one with the Tom Dwan, the 2.3. They're casually playing $1 million pots with some people in the game who, I don't know if these guys are top. Paul Fua, I don't know if he's a top Norman Hold'em regular. Does that sort of idea of going to Macau and going the limitless route, does that appeal to you at some point in time of maybe getting in more live poker?
No, I don't think I'm ever gonna do that. Like I kind of maybe like I'm probably gonna do Barcelona every year because it's just so fun, but I don't see myself moving up to Macau and grinding the nosebleeds live games. Even though like that would probably be like kind of like high EV, but the lifestyle would just be so miserable. And I don't enjoy live poker that much.
Mm-hmm. What's kind of your lifestyle like, Nike? What your lifestyle like now? What sort of do you have a routine, or do you have like a schedule that you like to stay on?
Yeah, at the moment I have a kind of cute schedule. So basically, whenever I wake up, I just grind. Like I don't like grind that much per day. Like I maybe play like 4 to 5 hours a day, and then have like two. I play like 2 to 3 hour sessions, and I have like break in between them, and after that I'm just done. So basically, like when I wake up, I grind, I'm done. I study the spots I had on that day, and then I just do whatever I feel like. I basically every other day I go to the gym, and then after that I'm just basically brain dead and watching TV series and playing video games with friends. So I used to play football and futsal here in my city, but I kind of it just takes so much time. Like if you have like 3 practice week and game on the weekend, it just eats so much time of your life. And I might do it at some point again, but not at the moment.
Yeah, right. So it sounds like right now your life is pretty much designed around poker was the number one priority. And then after you get in your poker work, after you play, and after you're exhausted, then you let other things into your life. But on a consistent basis, poker is that number one priority, and that's what your main focus on in life is at the moment.
Yeah, definitely at the moment. Like high stakes is like even online poker, it's not gonna be around forever. So just like seems irresponsible not to focus on poker at the moment if you're like playing high stakes or mixed stakes even.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, I get a lot of questions very often, and one of the big questions is, how do you make it in poker? And I think that a big way you make it in poker is focus, and you're focused on poker. I mean, you said you said kind of a funny statement, which I would have, you know, I wouldn't have understood it before when I was younger in my life. But you said, I'm just playing 4 to 5 hours a day. You're just like, I'm just playing 4 to 5 hours a day. And I think to you, that seems very normal. And to me, that always seemed normal. But then when you start actually meeting other poker players and you kind of see what holds them back, like what's holding these guys back, guys I've worked with or coached, they don't like the idea of playing every day 5 hours to them is like the hardest thing they've ever imagined in their entire. They're like, I don't know how, but to me, it's like, yeah, you go play 5 hours that day. That's it. Just go play. And that concept of other, like they just can't get themselves to do that, or like they just don't. They don't have something's in them. They don't have it. And I think that's a really big thing that you need to do is just every day you got to get out there and play. And I'm sure, do you take time off if you're going through a downswing, or if you feel like you're have some bad habits that are kind of creeping up, or are you pretty consistent with just working through those moments in time?
I very rarely take a off day. Like the reason why I play like 4 to 5 hours a day, which is kind of like low amount per day. I think a lot of players like play 6-8 hours a day, but when I play 4 to 5 hours a day, I can keep that up, like playing like 2 weeks straight, like 4 hours a day. It's like I can keep that routine in place. What was the question actually?
I don't think there was really a question about it. The question's just kind of it's just like something I've really observed from talking to a lot of people, because people always ask me like, what does it take to make it at poker? How do I become a winner? And I mean, it's kind of simple in a lot of ways. You just put your poker as your number one priority. But especially for Americans, is that in America here, there's so many distractions. I feel like there's so much more emphasis on going out or meeting women or getting drunk or cars or houses or all these different activities. And it seems like a lot of the European people are able to just block a lot of those things out a little bit easier than the Americans are, and just purely focus on poker, and the distractions don't seem to impact them as much as they do for the American people that I know.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with the personality type that most poker players are. Like, I'm fine just like playing a week straight and staying on my home. I'm meeting friends on the weekend, like 1 hour a week. Like, I can do that. I know like most people can't like manage a lifestyle like that.
Right. Yeah.
But I think like most poker players are introverts. Like there's maybe like one guy who is not an introvert that are like my poker friends. So I know maybe there are more extroverts in the United States.
Well, I think it's kind of like I don't know, it's ingrained in our culture. Like what does it mean to be successful in America is like you're famous, or you make a lot of money, or you have a good personality, you're outgoing, and you look at who people praise in America, they praise those kind of personalities. They don't praise the quiet fucking guy and they're like, oh, be like this. They're like, no, don't be like this guy, be like this kind of person. So I think that's why you see extroverted sort of characteristics put on a pedestal more in America. That's certainly something I've noticed a lot more lately as I've been trying to pay attention to it. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a lot of partying in the American culture for sure. It's just like the idea of partying's praise, like going out, even if a lot of people don't always party a lot, but it's just like the idea of party is glamorized so much through songs, through movies, through all these different things that we're exposed to on a continuous basis, that it gets you to the point where if you don't go out on a Friday or Saturday, you feel guilty. You feel like you're a loser because you're not going out Friday and Saturday. Whereas like me, when I was in my 20s, I played poker every fucking Friday, Saturday. I just grinded every day. Like that's all I did. I didn't feel guilty about it. I was like, I know where I'm going to get to. And I don't feel, but you talk to friends and like, oh, you're not going out. And you sort of, it's really easy to make yourself feel like you're a loser because you're not doing what everyone else is doing. And I think in Americans, that's something that really impacts a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But like, especially when I was playing like mid stakes, like I almost never like could like convince myself to take a weekend off unless there was like some special occasion, because like high stakes like weekends are not that different, because all the high stakes recreations, I don't think they go to like normal jobs. They're like some rich guys. But like at mid stakes, the weekends are like so much better. You probably have like twice the win rate on weekends. So if you're like going drinking on Friday, then missing Saturday grind because of hangover, like you're costing yourself so much money. like you could use to win and then a shot take high stakes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's a good question in chat.
Which one do you like here?
There was about the GTO and exploitable field play.
So yeah, I was definitely want to get Michael John Murphy, and you're a great person to ask because the whole fuck GTO thing has been going lately. Michael says, ask him what he thinks of exploitative / field play at the high stakes. Is it still useful, or has GTO just taken over completely?
I mean, this is like basically what like there was the big rant in Charlie YouTube thing when he just like said fuck GTO. Like the whole our argument of like whether to play GTO exploit is just stupid. Like obviously you should play exploitative. But when you actually have the read that your exploit works, like exploiting is always like a give and take. Like if you make an exploit, you might be wrong and then you lose EV. If you're correct, you win EV. But like you all also need to have a good base strategy, and that's where like the GTO comes in. Like you're not supposed like how do I say this? Like it's a constant like line between like not taking like massive exploits, because when you're taking like massive exploit, let's say you're bluff catching and you think the other guy bluffs too much, and then you call down the worst bluff catcher in your range, which basically means that you call your range. Then if your read on this guy is incorrect, then you're like losing so much over the whole like range of your hands in this spot, which you always need to think, even though you're kind of making exploit play, you still need to like think about like how this range against range spot is gonna go. So wait, I lost myself. I lost my train of thought. Still, like it's like always you should play exploiter if you have a like good read. But like how often do you actually have a good read on the guy? You saw him, like you think he's tight. Well, maybe he's not tight. So the spot like if we bluff catch the whole range, what if he's actually not over bluffing? Then we're just losing so much on the spot. Like the better way to do the exploit is like maybe we call like a bit too much, like, and then we're still like, even if our read is correct, if our read is incorrect, we are not gonna lose that much EV on the spot, like making it like slightly exploit or play. But there's like still definitely a bunch of button clickers out there. Like no one's playing perfectly GTO yet. Maybe Linus, but no one else.
Yeah, I think even when you explain it, it's kind of hard to.
It's hard to put in words like what I'm thinking, because to me it's like seems so obvious that like GTO is the base strategy. Exploit everything is when you like have a read and like are confident in your read, which is the key part. Like I think especially like in tournaments, it's easy like trick yourself into believing this guy is doing this stuff, because you're often not even like seeing like too many spots where you could see like, and you're not gonna get a big sample of the spot. So it's easy to like delude yourself into thinking that you have a read, even though like you can't really be confident in the read.
Yeah, I think kind of where Charlie Carroll's coming from with the whole fuck GTO thing is that I think kind of his perception of what Doug is specifically discussing. I think it's different than what Doug is actually discussing. I think Doug, the way he teaches poker is he's sort of trying to teach it from a GTO theoretical standpoint. But
Yeah,
it's hard to be like, okay, you want to play GTO here, and then when that exploit, it's hard to be like, okay, these are the exploits that are come up, because you don't really know what the exploits that are going to come up are. So when you're teaching somebody poker,
yeah,
I think it's challenging to teach them how to play exploitatively, because what are you going to like?
Yeah,
how are you going to teach that exactly?
How are you gonna study exploit over poker? Like
exactly, and that's why poker, back in the day when it was really heavy exploit, that's why you saw some people just whip out different styles and they crush with it, because there was no teaching for it. There's no way to really combat it. And I think now you just the way of teaching poker. It's not for everyone. It's not, everyone can't necessarily, I guess, learn poker that way, the way sort of Doug teaches it or Upswing Poker teaches it. And I think that we're going to start seeing, it's just kind of tough because when you start talking about exploitative and you start trying to teach people that way, you sort of sound kind of fishy, I think, to a lot of people, because, and I think that's why we don't see a lot of top players really take that stance that Charlie took against it, where he said, fuck that, you can play exploitative. And I don't know, just the idea of explaining the two things and how they work together and what exactly it means. I think it's just, nobody wants to do that over and over again, because you just explained it once and like now the question's going to come up 175 more times. It's like you just keep explaining it the same. Eventually, at some point, you're just like, fuck, I'm done explaining it. Like for me at this point, I'm just like, let it just go out, whatever it is, whatever. Like, so I think that's I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting kind of topic and debate. And
if the original question, or like, is there like still exploiters players in high stakes? Yes, there are definitely quite a few like guys who either don't study that much or then just like don't use that information because they have a good exploitative game. Like most of the Russians are like super exploitable.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Scandinavian Omaha players play that style as well too. I think, as sort of more solver-based strategy is becoming more of a thing in PLO, you're seeing some people that are starting to incorporate into their games a little bit more. But for the most part, a lot of the PLO player pool has always been a pretty exploitative style play. And that's why there's always been a battle like between those player pools and then the guys who are more solver-based. The solver-based guys think exploitative. This is a common thing. They think the exploitative players suck. They're like, no, he's trash. He's awful. I don't know, whatever, he's winning. But I think that's what makes poker beautiful, is that all of those styles can work together. Like you can play super exploitative and you can still win against certain players. You can try to play more GTO and you're still going to be able to win against certain players. And you can always perfect your strategy as much as you can, and you'll be able to probably win with a variety of different strategies. It just depends who you're playing against, and it depends on how your mindset is in those things.
That's the key part. Like, what kind of pool are you playing in? Like, if you're playing in like a high stakes no limit cash, then you need to have a good default strategy, because it's not easy to have like a good read on people.
Right.
If you're playing tournaments, then probably you can play like very exploitative, because like everyone's just clicking buttons in tournaments. It's ridiculous. And also in PLO, probably you can be way more exploitative, because PLO is way harder to study and kind of more complex game. So people are gonna not be that, their default strategy is not gonna be that good in PLO. I feel like that could be the case. I haven't played too much PLO, so I haven't actually.
Listen, now that we're on the subject, I mean, what do you think about getting over to the great game and trying to listen, man? We got 4 cards. Let me tell you what we got, man. Let me tell you what we got. 4 cards instead of 2. Let me ask you a question. Mark, you hate folding the 3 bets, or do you like folding the 3 bets?
I like calling the 3 bets.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because in the great game of Pot Omaha, you can call just about every 3 bet. Like you don't. Yeah, it's actually wrong. It's wrong to fold the 3 bets in a lot of situations. My fold the 3 bet percentage, I like to say it's 0, but it's not. I actually do fold some 3 bets. I don't want to keep spreading that rumor around there. But
I know you're supposed to fold some to 3 bets in PLO. I did some studying in PLO, but I never actually started playing. Dude, I remember. The question is, can you bet over the pot in PLO?
It's a great question, Marcus. And yes. I'm going to be honest with you. You can't. Okay. The most you can bet or raise is the size of a pot.
Yeah, that seems like an awful game.
Well, how often are you overbetting? I mean, I did see one hand on my Instagram where you did overbet the river. So is an overbet, is that a big part of your game plan too?
Is that the 7-6 hand?
Yes, I'm actually this hand's actually ridiculous. So let me pull this hand up. I posted this over my Instagram. At Poppy GTO, and let me try to see if I can pull this. Where's the actual hand history from? This hand's pretty LOL. I'm gonna be honest with you, but in the meantime, while I find it, let me give a couple of shout outs out here. Who we got in the chat? We got Michael Zhang in the chat. I believe that is a fellow high stakes no hole regular as well. I think I saw Frank's in the chat. Frank Williams, what's up, Frank? What's happening, Big Poppy? My man Gil Acuna, what's up, Gil? What's going on, brother? Good luck today in your heads up battle on Live at the Bike. He said he needs a piece of advice for his heads up battle. And my advice to you against Brian is to ramp up the variant skill, hit him with some aggression, and pray to God that you run better and then he does and you win. So that would be my man Harbs in the chat too. What up, big puppy? What's happening, Harbs? What's going on, brother? Who else we got, man, out there? Kyle Mahorski. What up, Kyle? What's going on? What's going on? Sky Hunter, Brendan Van Boofin. What's up, Brendan? What's happening, brother? Akos Molnar. What's up, man? Jans Peter Nielsen, the voice of Nerf. Who you got? You got a shout out you want to give, man? Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll give you shout outs. Shout out to UK crew, all the cash game guys, and also to Internet 300, which is the stable I was in. I think a lot of those guys are watching, actually.
You said the name of the stable.
What?
What was the name of it?
Internet 300. But it was like the coach of the stable is retired.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, you mentioned those internet. Yeah. Like, been a long time.
Yeah, quite a few of the high stakes guys, like Limitless and Big Blind Bets, were also in the same stable. And there's like, I don't know, maybe like 6 to 10 mid stakes guys also in the same stable. And Paul basically like took everyone from micros to mid stakes, high stakes. Well, not like, obviously, like the contracts were like a year, so obviously you have to do a lot of work after that to get the high stakes. But he like I think he had like quite a high success rate in bringing people from micros to mid stakes.
He must be doing something very, very correct. That's for sure. Because yeah, I mean that's rather impressive to have those sort of names in there, and then that be a catalyst for a lot of those guys getting up to the high stakes and mid stakes. So that's pretty. Yeah,
he definitely like it was kind of interesting because I don't think he ever really played like high stakes. Like he was like a mid stakes crusher, but when he talked poker with him, he was like he's probably the smartest person I know. Like he would definitely have made it to high stakes. Like, it's not even close. But he was like a huge nit when it comes to shot taking or taking higher. I think like if you want to play high stakes, you kind of need to have the attitude that you don't really care about money when you're playing. You kind of like feel the money.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people who felt that same way, who I would like, you'd see their graphs and they talk poker and they sound so smart at poker. Their graphs go straight up and you say, well, why don't you play higher stakes? And they say they're just scared. Like, I don't know. They can't, they like once they handle that variance and once they lose a few buy-ins, they like shut down and start freaking out and start questioning whether they can win. Or it's kind of crazy. Exactly. I never really was, I never really met a lot of people like that coming up. A lot of my friends were more degenerates, I think. And it was like a mixture of degens who shot took inappropriately or big nits who just stay at the same stakes and kind of kept crushing those same stakes for years. And then I started meeting more people who I was like, man, you're like really good. Why don't you try higher? And I can't, like they couldn't do it. So it's kind of wild how the mind can hold you back and hold some people back, even though they're proven winners who have a proven great strategy and they have proven results. So it's,
yeah, I mean, basically most of the mid stakes guys I know who play like Far and Zoom or something, they are like, at least quite a few of them would definitely like could play 1K, 2K, maybe 5K bar hunting, but they're just like so used to playing Farm and Zoom, they just like don't want to shot take. Shout out to Victor. He's one of those guys. Like he's been crushing Farm and Zoom for like I don't know how many years, and he's just like I said to him many times, like, why don't you play hard? He's just like, I don't know, seems risky.
Listen, I wish I had more of that in me, because if I only played mid stakes, I would probably be up like $7 million. I don't really. I'd be up infinite. Like from like 2008, I just love shot taking. I don't know. I'm not sure why. I'm always like, I want to get to high stakes. Like
yeah, that was like like it's not necessarily bad to have like that sort of attitude. Like look at someone like King 10 of clubs who just like been printing mistakes for like 10 years and made many.
The beast, man. People actually, some people might not have seen my hair, guys. Yes, I did cut my hair. You guys, I got rid of my my hair. All right, let's get to this hand, brother. Hold on a second. What is with this fucking weirdo in the chat? Calm down, Snow Monkey. You're so
this hand is so horrible.
This guy's so fucking strange, bro. All right, let me get to this. Let me get to the hand here. All right. Here's my hand. Okay, so I post this on my Instagram page at PoppyGTO, and three-handed here, 2550 on Pokerstars, Born to Tilt, Makeboifin, and Give Me Up. So I don't know. I actually know who Give Me Up is, and I'm going to assume he is a fun regular, but that's probably not going to be true. So here's the hand, guys. Our man Makeboy raises 7-6 suited small blind. Give Me Up defends big blind 4-5 offsuit. Flop comes down 6-7-7-6. That is an above average flop for all my winning players out there for Makeboy. He checks it, gets a little tricky. Give Me Up takes a stab here. 71.52 into 300 with the open and a straight draw. Check calls. Turn is quads. That is a top 1% hand here. Once again, Makeboy checks. Give Me Up decides to bet again. Bets half pot. And Makeboy calls. Here's where shit gets weird, guys. River is an ace. So 6-6-6-7 ace. And now Makeboy goes for the old overbet here. He bets 1,400 into 884. And Give Me Up decides to jam here for 3,000 more. And I don't know if Pio Solver says this is a GTO jam or if this says this is what the like. I don't know if the solver is over recommending shoving here with 4-5, but unfortunately he does get called by the by quads here. I don't think Makeboy's going to fold here. So let's talk about this hand. So what's going on here, man? What's happening here on the flop? What's going on?
I mean, flop is pretty straightforward. This is like let's break this down correctly. We're gonna get good analysis now.
Okay, let's get it.
So this flop is a flop where this is very good for big blind because he has way higher density of trips. So these spots like small blind's gonna basically check range on the flop. Then Give Me Up. He's actually like a pretty good high stakes Russian reg. And he's definitely one of those more exploitable guys. Then he stabs with 5-4, seems standard. Turn is interesting because on the flop, I don't think we are supposed to do a small blind do a lot of check raising here because we want to kind of protect our range.
Mm-hmm.
Way, even though that sounds fishy, but that's kind of what's happening here. And we don't really have that many good hands that push equity against as a check raise. Turn is a spot where like all the trips combos just vanish from big blind's range, and we basically, as small blind, basically check call most of the overpairs on flop. Maybe check raise some of them, but basically mostly check call the overpairs. So this is like a super good turn spot for small blind. So I'm pretty sure like small blind is already supposed to do a bunch of donking here on the turn. So like a bunch of overpairs and stuff, but obviously our hand doesn't want to do donking because we blocked the 7x, so we have an easy check. Give Me Up goes ahead again and bets half pot, which is kind of weird because I think this is a spot where he already wants to polarize his range to like 7-7 or like quads, I think. So he should be probably betting higher, bigger. But when he bets like half pot, I think he like has way higher amount of 7x in the turn betting range than he should be having. So our checker range is a lot of ace-x stuff, some overpairs, some 7x, that kind of stuff. So when the ace hits on the turn, if he actually bets a lot of 7s on the turn, and also maybe sometimes use 2 bets as something, this is just good for our range. And I kind of estimated that we would be doing overbetting here with ace-x, which is definitely not the case. Who gives a fuck? And our hand is kind of weird here because we blocked the call down range, but I suspect that because Give Me Up is like a very exploitative guy, that I was not sure like if he would ever be doing bluffing on this ace, because I'm not sure if he perceives us to be donking ace-x here. Like if on the river, if small blind never donks an ace, big blind is not probably supposed to bluff too much, like exploitative way. So I just figured like I just maybe overbet, and then he rips it in, which is terrible. because this is a spot where he really wants to have like a hard blockers to 6x. So he really wants like what's missing? He really wants to have a spades, like combos that block like 6x suited, and he makes a gangster jam, and we snap it off.
So when you play against a guy like this who you know is capable of doing like this, is there a difference in strategy you're going to maybe take against this person? Are you gonna look to potentially try to induce a player like this in the future? Because I would imagine that now you're going to play more with this guy, and now you know that's sort of metagame. So now if he knows that he jammed in a spot like this, well, he's literally capable of bluffing in any spot for the I would imagine, like that would be my assumption. So then the adjustment game comes into play where he knows that, and now you know that, and now it's you know you go back out there and you try to figure out who's adjusting the best, and I think that's what makes poker really fun.
I don't really like think about it that way. Like I try to play as like good default strategy as I can, but then I like some spots I maybe exploit more. But like my game is very GTO based, I think.
Yeah, that was definitely I think like my approach to poker is I think about that kind of stuff maybe too much, but I don't know. I feel like that was something that even coming up, I was like, all right, well, this person knows that this about me, so I'm going to try to adjust better. And maybe sometimes I'm just adjusting poorly, and maybe he doesn't even understand that about me. But I think more often than not, it's been a good skill to kind of build that up. And I've actually noticed that live poker, this kind of stuff starts to matter a bit more because the sample size is so small that people are going to over and under adjust in various different ways. And it's sort of a challenge for you to figure out who's going to be able to adjust like this and who's adjusting like that, and whether you should adjust your default strategy due to how you think they're going to be adjusting. So I've always found that part of poker a little fascinating.
Yeah, I've always thought about like if my default strategy is like better than theirs, like I'm gonna win money. Like that's kind of my base assumption.
I don't know. I've always loved trying to make people fold too. Maybe a little bit too much. I like these sick bluffs. Like I love this bluff that he did. I mean, I don't think it's kind of bad, but I just love bluffs like this because my sort of takeaway from this was when I was trying to work into my own strategy is that, okay, if I bluff here in this spot, this person's going to see me bluff here, and certain people that I played against will remember this forever. They're like, there's some guys I talk to now that remember bluffs from 2009 that I did against them, and they're like, do you remember when you tried bluffing me off like I'm like, yes, I still remember that. Just because I think, and not against weaker players or not against better players as much, but against weaker players and weaker regulars. And this isn't as applicable to high stakes regulars, but I think it's still applicable to small and mid stakes players. Is that when you can get into their mind, and when you have them just like, this motherfucker is insane. Like this motherfucker has a good strategy, but he's crazy. He might do some crazy shit where he's just gonna jam over my overbet with 5 high. Like that kind of person is so. I feel like I have trouble playing against players like that because, like, you know, I just want to call more, and then I'm paying them off more, and maybe they start bluffing me less. And you know, I find like I don't know that sort of stuff's always very. Sasha in the chat, that's why I love her. Listen, that's why I love Sasha, because Sasha can literally bluff at any given time, and it makes no rhyme or reason sometimes. And god damn, man, I hate playing against her.
Yeah.
Not
sure if it's a good idea to let people know that you're a crazy person when it comes to strategy if you're still gonna be crazy after the fact.
That's true. I agree. That's why I don't make strategy videos. People's like, why don't you make more strategy PL videos? I'm like, well, I mean, listen, you know, you start talking about how you play, like, I don't know, man. I do find the idea, like, there's so much strategy out there now.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I always find it kind of still dumb. I still kind of find it dumb, even though there are some videos where I do put it out there, but I feel like revealing your strategy to the world, I don't know, man. It always seems like there's some pros to it. It forces you to get better. It forces you to know what you're talking about and be able to explain your thought process. But I don't know. I find it silly. Like, do you watch some of these other guys who play Nolan Hold'em and high stakes, and are you like watching their stuff and say, okay, well, thank you for this information? Like, I mean, that's what I'd be doing.
I mean, there's not many like high stakes guys who actually do coaching videos, I think. I'm more like mid-stakes guys and Sauce, but Sauce doesn't really play like high stakes. So I never really watch like any videos. But if like some of the guys playing 2K plus would like be doing like coaching videos, like I'd probably watch them because I could probably pick something off them. Like streaming poker like seems retarded. Like maybe it's like good for tournaments or something where like the pool is massive, but streaming like high stakes or even mid stakes cash like Inerpsy, like he did. I'm pretty sure like a lot of the foreign Zoomrex definitely should be watching Inerpsy's stream because he's definitely not someone who's like strategy is super balanced. So like if you can pick up some stuff, you can definitely exploit him. But then again, he probably has to stream because the sponsorship deal or something.
Yeah, it's probably tough. Like him and Nanonoko, Nanonoko was streamed for a while, and that hurt his game because I think I'm sure he wasn't balanced in all the different spots, and I'm sure he was getting a little out of line, and his patterns were I guess some people were able to pick them up. I don't know. I just seem like if I watch someone play for hours, I'm going to pick up things. Like that's what happens. It's a matter of if you're a regular, do you want to put in that effort to actually watch that person stream? And yeah, for me, I mean, I don't know. It's like dear God, I think back. I'm like, man, I want someone to stream 10-20 on Ignition right now. Like, please stream. Like for the love of God. Please stream some high stakes PL on Ignition, guys. I would love it. Like, I mean, my God, I'll pay for you to like. I just can't believe it. Some of these tournament play, even now, like the German guys, Soundtimer and Stefan, like they're with GG. They started like a team and they're streaming. I go, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like these guys are. It's like Christmas. If you're a tournament player and you're not watching these guys' streams, you are doing yourself a disservice because you got some of the top players just giving it away on like, I'm gonna take it, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it's way like more forgiving in tournaments just because the pool is gonna be huge, and also who wants to watch tournament poker.
Well, listen, I'm with you on that one completely, but apparently 27,000 people want to watch Lex Feldhaus play the W Coop main event, so it's
yeah,
it's only getting more and more pop. Have you considered playing more tournaments at all?
Not really. Like I just don't like them. Like whenever you register a tournament, you basically like you're forced to play a straight session where you can only have 5-minute break, and I don't want to do that. Like I want to play like short sessions, be focused, and play my own hours. Like and tournaments just completely fuck up my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's like massive variance in them. I don't think the EV in tournaments is that high for like mid stakes, high stakes cash reg. Only during like these W scoops, which is like the only time I usually play some tournaments. But then again, like if you're just firing a bunch of like if you want to make good EV in the tournaments, you have to be firing a lot to like decrease the variance, and then it's gonna be expensive. I don't want to fire like 3 10Ks every day because you can easily go in the huge downswing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're not selling action, or if you're taking on all of your 5K and 10K action, it's certainly
like if you sell action, the EV is not anymore going to be good. Like you have a better early playing cash games. So.
You have not played a lot of tournaments. I can tell from that statement, right? That's what, I remember. I was like, why would I sell action for my fucking tournaments? I don't play anyone. And then I started playing them. I'm like, okay, now I see why people sell action.
Okay, you're talking about markup.
Well, markup's always been a weird thing, but when you start playing like 3 10Ks and you break them, you're like, oh fuck, maybe I'm going to start selling like, I'll sell a little bit of action, and then you keep playing them and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to start selling more action on a regular basis, because I think if you consistently take your own,
but the thing is that I always just sell to my friends just because it's easy to deal, and I don't want to charge my friends markup.
Yeah,
because if I don't charge markup for them, then maybe I sometimes get action, but probably not because.
Who are your main friends? Who are your main poker friends that you talk a lot with?
Yeah, like I have a kind of 2 groups. So first is the stable there's like a bunch of, they are like more of Eastern European guys. Big Blind Bet Sister, I talk a lot with him, Limitless. I don't talk that much with him anymore. But then there's like UK guys, which are like a cash game crew, which is has a lot of like mid stakes, high stakes guys that like SMB, Mayo, JVL, Benababit, Easter, Linus, DCC, Nesquik, Max Sangs, Berlinder, Jack the Ripper, D7, 464. It's just like a bunch of mostly British guys, some German, some Netherlands, one Swiss.
Our
I've been trying.
Our SMB and Mayo, do they play on PokerStars?
No.
No. I wasn't sure if it got changed. Okay, I remember those guys from back in my. I mean, they were around. I think when I was like starting to play Less No Limit and then play more Potman Omaha back in the day, they were kind of coming up in the in the small stakes forums and stuff like that, and they posted a lot. And then I don't exactly know what happened. I remember something happened, and I don't know if they play on Stars anymore. But sounds like they got a little out of line. It happens, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, they were basically acting like a bunch of retards. And they didn't realize, I think they didn't actually realize what they were doing, but no more of that. And they got banned on Stars, and then they started playing Euro sites and won all the money. And now I think now they're like the party bosses, I guess. They just grind party, mid stakes, high stakes, everything that runs.
Well, I thought you said they were partying a lot. I was like, well, listen, boys, you guys come to Vegas next time, make sure you hit me up. Let me know I'm in. those guys seem out of line as fuck. So I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah, probably out of line.
Those boys seem a little out of line. And when I think of out of line, I think of seem a little out of line.
So with those guys, I've been like traveling like Barcelona twice. I was at Mexico last year for a month with some of those guys, and we're going again like in a month, I think, to Mexico for a month or so. So
that sounds fun. Going to Mexico for 1 month?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun, man.
Have you ever been to Mexico?
No, I have not. I'm a little I don't know, man. The Americans in Mexico, I'm sure like it's safe, but I don't know. I just haven't gone down there.
Yeah, those are like my worry, kind of like how safe it's actually there. But we were at Playa del Carmen, which is kind of smaller place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like if you're just a tourist there, and especially when you're like far from the border, like the border towns, I hear those are like really dangerous.
Right. Yeah, that's.
But if you're like far down south, so then it's like, and in a small town, it's just tourists. Like I think there's little risk because the cartels and those kind of stuff, they have no incentive to like. They have like a counter incentive to like harm the tourists. Like,
yeah,
it's
that's what
be very bad for business.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard. So it's kind of interesting question here from Thomas Vardis and Jans Peter wants to know. I mean, I kind of took for granted this answer, but what's a stable? You mean most high stakes regs don't play on their own rolls?
No, stable is basically coaching stable, which means that there's a coach or coaches that teach people to get better at poker in order to get there, and the students give some of their action to the coach for a certain period. There may be some staking involved in cash game stables. I don't think that's usually the case. I've never been staked. I don't think there's like, seems fucking stupid, and I don't know. I don't think there's much reason. Like if I want to play lower, I'm gonna just sell action. Like if I don't wanna, like if I want to play a game that I'm not rolled in, I'm just gonna sell action to the game. Like if I'm not rolled, then I don't know. It just seems kind of, the whole staking thing is so weird. Like
I agree.
The Kate Hall controversy thing, and I'm just reading the thread. I'm like, what the fuck is this staking thing?
Yeah,
man. I don't really understand it at all.
I'm the same way. I never sold I don't think I got staked or sold any action for like 6-7 years into my career. And then I think I sold action for like a 5,100 session before. And I'm sorry, I did lose a lot of money that session, but I genuinely felt awful. I was like, oh my God, I think I lost like 70,000. And I felt awful for like 2 months. And I still to this day feel bad about losing my friend that much, like losing that big at that session. Because I never even sold, but we were living together. He's like, oh, can I buy action in a session? I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. And then I lost 70,000. So it was that was the last time I sold for a while. But I think when you start playing tournaments and once you get more into the live player world and these live higher stakes cash games, like the action and then this buying and this everything is just like, I don't know, it's so standard.
That's kind of the problem with live poker, because like the hand rate, you're gonna get like 20-30 hands an hour. So in order to achieve the same hourly as online, either you're gonna have to play like, obviously the games are softer, but you also have to play in a lot higher stakes games.
Right.
So that's like, then you run into the problem that even though you're definitely beating the games, like, are you roll to play the games? Maybe. Are you taking a shot? Maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's why kind of people sell action, because they're playing a lot higher stakes when they do play live. And I don't know, for tournament, like the first time I sold action, or it was a tournament after that, after I sold action for like one cash game session and then tournaments. And then the first time I played tournament, I was like, I'm not selling anything. Fuck that. If I win, I want all my money. And then I think I cashed that one. I was like, okay. And then I played the 10K PLO and I was like, well, I don't want to buy in 10,000 myself. I'm going to sell some action. And then from there, I was like, oh, okay. I guess this is normal. And I don't know. It's still a weird thing. Sasha, Sasha. Let's see if Sasha got a question. I think she got a question. Sasha. I'm trying to get Sasha. Sasha had a question, I think. Hold on, let me grab her. Hold on a second, man. Give a shout out in the chat while I grab her real quick. You got a question? Come here, ask a question. Give him a question. We're bringing it. We need some female energy on here. Hold on a second. You got a question? Give him a question. Come say hi. Give him a question. Say hello.
Okay,
People, they don't actually see you in the chat. They just see you always in the chat.
Hi. I don't have a question though.
Just think of one question.
Oh, okay.
No out-of-line questions.
I just thought of a question. Okay.
Talking to Mike.
What would be your number one advice for people who are trying to move from micro stakes to mid or higher stakes?
I mean, only one advice, or like, am I supposed to give like one main thing, or like multiple?
Advice in general. I think she wants.
I mean, first thing, if you play micros and you seriously want to get better, like study, maybe get a coach, but that's like a big commitment. But like coaching definitely speeds up the progress a lot, because then you have someone telling you, like guiding you what to study, like how to study. And that's actually the most important part of coaching, is to someone show you actually like how the math works, what stuff you need to study. Once someone shows you that, like it's kind of like just like easy to study. But on one more practical advice is play on a site that has low rake or rake back. That's a massive thing at micros. Like there's sites that have like 50% rake back, and micro rake is like, I don't know, 20 BB or something. So when you play on a site that has like 50% rake back, you're instantly gonna have like 10 BB higher win rate than on the site like Stars, where you have no rake back. Like when I was playing micros and are stable, basically the advice that you don't play on Stars or 888 or any of these sites until you're playing like NL 200. And even then, it's not clear. Like NL 400, you can start playing that no rakeback sites. Maybe it's nowadays different, because I'm not sure like how much action are on these other sites. But rakeback is a massive thing at micros. Those are my two.
What do you think, Sash? What's the good answer?
Very good answer.
Very good answer.
Yeah.
You gotta talk in the mic stuff.
But I'm still a little mad at you though.
Why?
Because earlier you said something. I think you trashed PLO or something. I don't know. I don't know if we can be friends.
Okay.
Thanks for being on the pod. We enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
Shout out Sasha, guys. Sasha had a question, and I'm glad she got to come in and answer it. Listen, we always need a little female energy on here, Makeboifin. So
Yeah.
it's all a bunch of fucking dudes out here anyway. We don't actually have any females in our audience out here. Let's get some questions from the chat, guys. I see my man Jack Fleming. He says, "Hair or no hair, you're still the sexiest person in poker." Thank you, Jack. I cannot disagree with you. What do you who do you think the sexiest person in poker is, Makeboifin?
Are we talking female on my?
Let's talk female. Who do you think the sex? Whatever you want to go. You want to go male, female? I'm leaving it up to you. Whichever route you want to take it.
I don't know any of the how many female players are there. Liboris, I think he's.
Libori.
I don't think I can name too many arrows.
I think Libori is definitely hot. She's total package, man. Great personality.
She has the smarts and that looks as well.
Who'd you say?
She has the smarts as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's super smart, great personality. I feel like I mean, just from meeting a lot of the people in poker in person, she definitely has a special kind of charisma and special kind of energy in person too, which is very different. I feel like a lot of women that are in poker are sort of like introverted or a little bit shy once you meet them in person, but she is very much the opposite of that. So yeah, I think Mr. Y doesn't even play, bro. Come on, bro. Mr. Y doesn't she doesn't even play poker anymore. Calm down for a second. All right, Alex Ned, do you enjoy playing 500 Zoom in Pokerstars?
No, I hate Zoom. For some reason, every time I played Zoom, you're just always on a constant pressure. You always have a decision on you. You're constantly under pressure. And that's why I don't
exactly. That's what the Zoom appeal.
That's why I hate Zoom.
That's literally what the appeal of Zoom is. Are you for real? That's why people like it. It's constant. It keeps going. There's not boring. It's a hand. Boom, boom. ADD. Boom, boom, boom.
Have a nice chill session. You have a 5 seconds. You're not under any pressure. And then some Russian overbets you and you're heading live. But you at least have the 5 seconds. In Zoom, you don't have those.
Yeah, I see your point. Never thought about it. I thought everyone enjoyed Zoom. I think that, I don't know, whatever Zoom versus.
I mean, I just always I think I played bad during in Zoom because of that. For some reason, I seem to always make awful decisions in Zoom because I think I act too quickly.
Right.
Because I always have another decision on the table. But I haven't played too much Zoom because mainly of that reason. I don't like it.
Are you excited for Reddit One's poker site to launch?
I mean,
anonymous poker?
Not really. I mean, if it actually becomes a thing, but I doubt it. How are they gonna get action? They're it's just gonna be a bunch of regs playing with themselves. And then when people realize that there's no fish, people just gonna quit.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe then again, I don't know. It's unlikely that they're gonna become a big thing. I would like them to actually get big, but I just.
Have you played much anonymous poker before?
Not too much.
Yeah, I'm telling you, anonymous poker, even the good regulars, once their names aren't attached, crazy shit happens. When your name isn't on there, that sort of embarrassment factor goes out the window. And you're going to make plays. You're going to do some things. You're not afraid to tilt as hard. So I've actually noticed that once the anonymous kicks in, it's a different game because you don't have those same sort of dynamic and the turn and river and the long-term dynamics that you build up with opponents. But I've noticed people just freak out a lot more. They spaz out. They do dumb shit. So it actually seems like it does create more action.
Yeah, it probably drives a bit action. But also, I like to know who I'm playing against. But I think they are doing in a way that at high stakes or at some stakes they're gonna have the screen names.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know what stakes or how that's gonna work out with Phil. I don't know if that's gonna be exactly what the plan is, but I got hope. I don't know. I'm gonna help him out. I think when the site starts going into full mode, I'll certainly I might listen. I might take a little trip outside the country. You know, I might take a little trip. I gotta put in some volume and do some streaming about Run It Once Poker, because I definitely want to support the cause and want to see them be more successful. So if I gotta hop in the ring there and put myself in the mix, I'm gonna have to do that. It seems like.
Yeah, it'd be awesome if they like actually became huge and like had like low rate and good structure and everything, but just because the recreational players drive the action, and I don't see how they're gonna get those.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out. So
yeah.
Why are people people are banging on my hair, bro. It's tough. I'm serious. I was telling like all the girls, they like message me. They're like, they're like in shock. What did you do to your hair? I'm like, oh my, like every girl. I mean, a girl, and even guys. I'm getting messages from guys on Instagram saying, why did you cut your hair? Oh my God. It's like, calm down, guy. I mean, it's wild, man. It's sad. I need your hair. Give me your hair, bro.
Yeah, I have sick hair. Way more than you do. But you look like a gangster with no hair.
I don't look at someone said I look like I was in the somebody said I look like I'm a Russian like criminal or something. I'm like, okay. I'm like, it makes sense.
I mean, that's kind of true.
That's true. I think before I was it was too like, pretty boyish. Now I look like I'm fucking trouble. So which I am. So it totally works. All right. What was this question here? Andreas Dukoskas, Makeboifin, did you saw, and yes, what you think about recent biggest televised poker pot with Durr? I
mean, I watched the video, but I can like figure out how deep there are, like how many big blinds there are, like, so I have no clue.
Yeah, I think they were 100 big. There were 200 big blinds deep. It was 3 million, 6 million, and I don't exactly know if it's 3 blind. I don't know what the hell's happened in that game, but yeah, and then there was a 12 million straddle on, and I don't know. It was a complicated game. I don't know. I feel like
seemed like a big pot, but I don't have like no other opinions. Like, I don't really care too much about what happens in there.
Yeah, I never really, like when I was in the heart of grinding, I never paid much attention to kind of that stuff. I just watched it for like the pure trying to get better and learn from it. But yeah, I can't say I was I used to be like a huge poker fan back when I first started for like the first 3 or 4 years. And then once I really got into the mix and realized like, okay, I need to block out everything, then I kind of paid not a lot of attention to that stuff. But now with doing content and doing stuff like this, I sort of have to pay attention to what's happening and have to know who's playing a lot and who are the good players, who are the weak players, who are the fun so I sort of have to stay up on that. And
yeah, but you can just like browse the high stakes trade at 2+2.
Yeah,
that's basically how I keep up with poker.
It's sad, man. I mean, I wish online high stakes was still a thing for cash games, and it still is to some extent. But
yeah, well, I was never in poker during the glory days, so like I never seen better high stakes than it's now. So maybe like a year ago I didn't like when I started poker, I didn't actually look at high stakes lobby. I was busy grinding
exactly. Yeah, that's the same way. Yeah, I think
when sometimes when I hear stories in like your podcast, something about like how poker was like 5-10 years ago, it just seems so surreal. Like it's so different nowadays.
Yeah, I think that it was like that also because there was just less content to watch. So you basically had like the 500 1K or 300 600 on full tilt, and they were with famous people that you always watch. So you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. Whereas now, if you look at stars, it's like you who Makeboifin's playing on there. Like a lot of people don't know Makeboifin. They weren't following along, or there's no gateway for them to even know who the new players are, whether the players want to remain more private or whether it's like, how would their story get out there for you to care about how they're doing? So now you come on the podcast. Now more people, if they see the stars lobby, if they see you in a hand, they're gonna be like, oh, I feel like I know that guy a little bit now. Whereas before, when you watched high stakes, you knew these guys so much about them. Like you were fans of them, you hated some of them, you liked some of them, you had some investment in seeing that person play. Whereas now you just don't really know who the people are. So it's like, well, where does the investment lie if you don't necessarily care about who's winning or who's losing? It's just, it's still poker at the end of the day. So I think that's a big reason why it was
Yeah, nowadays the lobby is it's a bunch of Russians, so and I was Russian, so
right. It's like, give me up. You know, I literally do not know who that. I don't know one thing. I couldn't make up a thing about him, and I think that's a big thing. And whether that, I think that's I wish I could. Like, I'd like to know more about these guys, but no one's really there to tell the story about who they are, and that's that's the biggest problem. Is like, there's no, whether it's a content creator or a player or media or whoever, no one's there to really tell these players stories. And I think that's a big reason for me why I want to start getting more online guys on here, is because I do want to be able to at least share some of the stories of the players out there and let people know like who a Limitless is and who some of these guys are. Cause I think that is just, I don't know, that I think that's what makes people really want to play poker more, is to say, okay, like, look at this guy. He's made it. Like, you started 4 years ago. You've made it to where you're at now. You've made it there through hard work and through consistency. And now other people see that and they say, well, okay, if he can do it, I know I have a shot to do it. So I like to let people know it's still realistic for you to actually get good at poker and to make a living and build a lifestyle for yourself from poker.
I mean, it's definitely possible now. It's like, just like, there's so many guys who made it like past 2-3 years to high stakes and mid stakes, like, but like, and it's probably gonna be like that for a while still, but who knows how long this online poker still lasts. I'm not too optimistic about that one, my friend.
Well, I mean, I'm not either personally, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Felipe Venegas says, ask him if he has played versus fellow YouTuber Sin Karma, and what does he think about him?
Yeah, I actually played against him. I think this or last week. I don't know. He's just seemed fine. We didn't play too much. I think we two-tabled like a bit, and then he left or something. I think he's like a more old school reg. Doesn't seem terrible. Doesn't seem
bang bang. I mean, let's call it what it is. A bang bang. Sounds like a bang bang right there.
Like, doesn't seem terrible. So
doesn't seem terrible. Wow,
like you can't actually see if someone's good like immediately. Like,
I was gonna say, you play 2 tables with them, you know. How much can't get that big a read on a guy's game?
Yeah, you can just like, the only thing you can see if you don't see mistakes, that he didn't make too many mistakes. Like, you don't really like get that accurate read based on like few hands and stats.
Who people want to know the power rankings? Do we got a top 5 or top 10 power rankings list here?
Top 10 power rankings. I'm waiting for this. I have a list here.
You have a list ready. Okay, perfect.
There's gonna be a few guys that's gonna be really mad.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so
you're waiting for this one. Okay, look at you. Like,
I didn't think about this one.
All right, let's get the list.
So nowadays, Linus is definitely top 1.
Okay.
I think that's like without a question. OTB probably still a second.
Okay.
But I'm not sure, like he probably thinks I think like people are catching up to him like quite fast, and he hasn't been playing that much.
Only took them 3 years, but okay, they're catching up quite fast.
Yeah.
It only took them years, right?
Third is Big Blind Bets. That's like
is that gonna be controversial?
That's gonna be controversial, but he's just been crushing everyone this year like hard, and all the Russians thinks he's a bot, so that kind of
if the Russians think you're a bot, you're doing something right for sure.
I mean, I think everyone thinks he's a bot, but I know him and I don't think he's a bot. I don't think he plays anything like a bot. But
have you watched him play in person and then seen him actually controlling the account and not a bot?
No. So there's like always there's always a chance for everyone. Fourth is NLC. His full screen is something like NLZ Werner or something. I don't know. Let's call him NLC. And fifth, this is gonna be controversial. The fifth is a Russian bum hunter called Zaruban. This is gonna be controversial because this is a guy who never bows. He only bum hunts, but his strategy is very strong. I think he's one of the best, and he could be a bot. Like, who knows?
Okay.
And I think a lot of guys are not gonna like Makeboifin him so high, but I think, and quite a few high stakes regs agree that he's really strong. 6th probably MMA, but here it gets tricky. Like MMA bit too easy, who's Barrow? I have MMA as 6th, bit too easy 7th. Maybe it's flipped, and then it's basically just guessing. Like I have no way to like actually know after this. Like it's so hard. Everyone's kind of close. No one's like super good from, but I think Yasam Gale is probably 8th, but I'm not sure about this one. And after it gets even harder. So maybe just I have written a list, so we're just gonna do it. 9th is Born to Tilt, old school reg, and 10. I want to say Dr. Luck, but I don't know.
My man, Dr. Luck
I
squeezing.
mean, he's good nowadays. He's actually
My
really
man,
good.
Dr. Luck squeezing in top 10, huh?
Yeah, I don't know about some of the picks.
I mean, it's your fucking list. You could just say who you want.
I mean, I like to make an accurate list.
Okay.
It's not just based on my opinions. Like I talk with other high stakes regs.
This is a research list. I hear. What about Dino Supremo? Guy been long.
I mean, Dino might not make it top 10.
You
I
don't.
don't wanna like say anything bad about him, but he might not be top 10 material. Maybe he is. He certainly thinks he is, but I would doubt him beating the reg battles against Linus and other top 5 guys.
So you're saying you think it's a recipe for disaster if you're battling with OTB Red Baron and Linus Love on a regular occasion.
Yeah, I mean that just seems like a story that's not gonna end well. But I mean, maybe he's surprised. Maybe he's actually gonna become the new Linus. So
the only way to become the new Linus is to beat Linus. So I mean, he's taking the step to become the new Linus. That's step 1, battle Linus.
Yeah, but you probably shouldn't take the step in a way where you jump from Pirate Zoom straight into 10K reg battles. That's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with this like a recipe for disaster, but yeah, I don't know.
He certainly has the most heart of the.
He does. He's always had heart. He's always had heart for many, many years. And I mean, I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well. I like seeing those guys with heart and battle, get after it. But what about someone said, what about Katya, long-time regular Katya 18?
No, Katya definitely doesn't make it top 10.
Definitely not on the list.
No. I think he hasn't improved in ages. I think he's not that good anymore. I'm sure like now he's gonna be gonna be coming at me, but I don't know. I will play him like gladly, but I think he plays quite different times than I do. He's been battling with bit too easy and Fields Mills lately. I think they played like 20K million tables of 20K a few days ago.
Yeah, they're playing right now. Bit too easy.
Oh.
Philip. How do you say this fucking guy's name? Phyllis Miss?
Phyllis Miss.
Okay. Phyllis Miss. Okay. Phyllis Miss.
Yeah, he's the only other Finnish high stakes guy. But he's more of a, I wanted to say he's a like 6-month player. He mainly plays heads up.
Okay. Yeah. Speedy 9487 says Huang 33. I think he's from China. What do you think about him?
I mean, Huang is interesting. Yes, he used to be like big recreational, but I think I'm not sure. Like I probably shouldn't say like he got coaching from some high stakes reg. I know who, but I'm not gonna disclose. And he's not really a spot anymore. He's more like a weaker reg.
Yeah.
But he's I think he's like old man, like 50 something, or like really old guy.
Really?
And I think he's using online more of a way to like improve and play live. Like I think he's like a live player thing guy. I don't know, but he's definitely like not terrible.
Right. Yeah. I
He's
mean,
probably he probably like beats like reasonable stakes now. But
people
if
in the chat are,
he's playing like 10K against 5 good regulars, like
yeah, that's when I've seen him play. He's basically playing with a lot of top players, it seems like. So
yeah.
people asking about True Teller. Timothy can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but what do you think about True Teller?
I never played against him. I don't think he was ever around when I was. Well, like I think he's. I don't think he's considered to play No Limit Reg anymore. In
Yeah, I think True Teller is busy winning the money at live poker, mixed games, PLO.
Yeah.
I think he's just literally I think during summer, I don't know if I didn't see him not in Ivy's room playing high stakes. So I think he's basically always there playing. So
all the old school guys seems to be playing live nowadays. Like when there was the, I think it was this year when Educa made the top 10 list of his when he released the Educa Poker.
Oh, Educa Poker. Okay.
Yeah. Like when he made the list, like it was kind of funny because like half of the list were retired basically, and then there was like 2 bots in the list, and all the like old school like guys were. I think a lot of like the top regs back then like play live nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what happens, they start playing live, they realize how soft the games are. They realize how soft the games are compared to online. They realize how much more money you could potentially make in these games. And then they, once they make that $500,000 a month live, they're like, okay, I think I'm going to play more live. They win $1 million in a day playing live poker. They say, okay, I think I'm going to, stick to playing mainly live poker. So
yeah. There are many people chatting saying you missed guys. I mean, that's the problem with making top 10. Like, there's so many guys that are like close, and you just kind of like have to pick some.
That's what a list is for. Exactly. Of course, people aren't going to be on the list, guys. That's the point of the list is to not everyone's going to make the list. That's the whole point of the entire list. So you want to make the list, you got to get on the list.
There's another post like who else was a bot apart from Obora in the Educa Poker list? I'm pretty sure Stumblov got banned for botting. He was a Belarusian guy. No, yeah.
Yeah, how worried are you about bot? El Troll said the online poker is going down or is down after you talk about everybody's a bot. Yeah, what do you how worried are you about everyone having bot or everyone having software or those sorts of things like that?
I mean, at Stars, I'm not too worried, and I don't reg bell on any other side. So, and at Stars, I feel kind of fine because I think their security system is pretty good. But like, if someone asks me, like, are there like dream machines out there? I think it would be naive to think that there are not. Like nowadays, it's so.
They are out there. I'll tell people that they do exist. The dream machines do exist, whether they're being used in action on Stars or other sites. It's a different story, but I am pretty confident that they exist.
I used to be way more worried about it than I am nowadays.
Once your graphs started going up, you started worrying less about it. Yes. I'm going to be honest with you guys. That is what happens is when you're winning, you're not worried about shit. You ain't worried about nothing. You're like, damn, I'm winning. Like, I mean, maybe they exist, and also at the same time, you don't want to obsessively worry about these things existing because then it's going to be in your mind. You want to be focused on trying to get as good as you can and trying to better your mindset. You don't want to be obsessing about people potentially botting or using dream machines or whatever, those sorts of things like that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be like aware of that there's a possibility that there might be cheating going on, but I don't think it's a huge risk at Stars high stakes. I don't think at the moment anyone is. I mean, Zaruban might. I don't know. I don't want to accuse him because I don't actually know, but he seems weird.
Who?
The Russian bum hunter guy, Zaruba.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that name a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's weird because he never plays three-handed. I don't think he's ever played three-handed in his life, and he is really good.
That is, I mean, I think when I don't want to give these guys any sort of advice on how to not beat a I'm actually not going to say anything because I've, as someone who's studied this kind of stuff a little bit too much, you can always look for irregularities in between how some of these suspicious accounts navigate their session, navigate their play, navigate exactly what they do and sort of tables and how they do things like that. And I mean, that certainly could be something too that you look out for. And I mean, the dumb people that you see at mid stakes and smaller stakes and micro stakes on a site like America's Card Room, these guys are fucking idiots. So they just leave their patterns so obvious. They're like, oh my God, like this is the dumbest fucking idiot of all time. Shouldn't America's Card Room ban this guy? But no, the guy plays on for fucking 10 months and 600,000 hands. But stars, I assume they're going to be able to detect those guys. But I just imagine the smarter people just know how to avoid being detected. And I think that's what makes it tough to.
I just kind of assume that someone has it out there. So if a new guy comes up and starts playing everyone, I might be like more cautious than I am.
Dino Supremo, exactly. That's Dino. He does. You just described him. Who knows, man? I don't know. You never know out there. Where's what did someone say out here? What did Trickle Blast says? Ask him about Invoker streaming high stakes cash on Stars a bunch recently.
Yeah, I actually saw him playing cash. It was kind of interesting. I think he took like a 6 months or like a year off from poker, and then comes back and streams high stakes and plays high stakes.
Does he have a coaching product and or course and or site that he's cross promoting? Because that's why a lot of people stream is because they have one of those things they're promoting.
Yeah, I played a bit with him and he seemed weird. He definitely were making some questionable plays. But, I don't know. It just seems like a suicide streaming high stakes cash.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I mean, you got to coach if you're coaching or if you're trying to promote a service or something like that. I can see the
kind of makes sense, but it's a bit different thing.
Yeah. What's Michael Zhang here said? Want to tell Philly Philly Barcelona story, Marcus?
No, I don't.
Okay.
This story is not about me, but I don't want to like talk a story that might be like weird for some people.
Okay.
I'm just gonna pass on this one.
Okay. Does it involve a beach?
No.
Okay. Does it involve a strip club?
It involves a potential fist fight.
A potential what?
Fight.
A fight. Y'all guys got more heart than the old school guys. We never got to see many fights amongst the old school online guys. There was no fighting going on.
I think that's actually part of why the 20K game is running.
Okay.
I'm not sure about this.
Another story for another time. Man. What's what you mentioned earlier about the idea of studying for players? What do you think are some of the best ways for micro stakes and small stakes players to study for them to potentially get better at their game and become consistent winners or potentially move up stakes?
I mean, that's an interesting question because nowadays there's obviously the solvers out there, but it's probably not the best for like when you start just starting out. But well, like I actually like I have a friend who I kind of coach a bit, and I just like showed him how to like use Flopzilla and do the basic math and like how to like look at your range. And I don't know, it's just if you're starting out the micros, you probably want to get like some upswing poker course that kind of teaches the basics of like how to approach the breaking down a spot, because that's important. Like, so you actually know how to do the analyzing of the tables. Like, how many people actually learn at the tables? Especially for like a new player, it's probably like really hard to visualizing the ranges. So when you actually like open a software or something where you have the ranges and call downs, and you can actually see like this is the amount of top pairs I have in my range, and this is the amount I should be calling as this pet. It's gonna be like helpful. At least for me, I remember that when I started doing that kind of stuff, it improved me a lot. Because before that, I was just guessing like what I'm supposed to do. But when I had like certain fundamentals that I could fall back onto and like analyze the spot and figure out approximately what you should be doing, then that kind of was very good. But for like if you're like advanced player already, like 10 Pio solver is obviously the greatest. I mean, there's a lot of solvers nowadays, but I use Pio and it's incredibly powerful and it makes studying super efficient. Like I still study, I break down maybe like 5 to 20 spots a day.
Okay. I like that. Evian, I don't know how to say names properly. Evian Vegan says, Joey, read your book. On the part that really made sense to me was obsession. Can you ask this dude what his typical day was in microstakes?
I mean, I can tell a story like what my typical day was when I was starting poker and I was working at a summer job at a factory. So basically my work was that I woke up, my day was, I work like 4 days a week and 2 days off. I work at the factory. It was a like controlling job. So I was basically like monitoring the process. So if everything went smoothly, I didn't have to do anything. So I just had quite a bunch of free time. So at this time, I was reading Chanda's and Tipton's poker books at work. When I got home, I fired up microstakes. I played like many hours of microstakes, and then I went to sleep, and then I did it all over again. And this was probably the worst summer of my life because it was at my hometown, and basically all my friends were also working at the factory. And the way shifts work there, that not everyone has their weekend at like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but you can have like 2 days off, maybe like Monday, Tuesday, and the other guys have maybe like Wednesday, Thursday. So it was kind of hard to organize anything that summer. So that was my typical day when I was playing microstakes and working at.
Simple, very simple day. You go to work, you read some books, you come home, you play poker, you go to sleep, you do it again.
Yes, and then I actually also started playing football again. That kind of like saved my summer a bit, because if I didn't start football, I probably would have gone crazy.
Okay.
Because also how the shifts work at the factory was that I did like 2 evening shifts and then 2 morning shifts. So I had to like flip my schedule.
What?
And so I did like let's say if my work starts on Monday, like Monday, Tuesday, I do like 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Then Wednesday, Thursday, I do like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.
What?
So when there's like after the second day, I usually was able to sleep maybe like 3-4 hours. So
were you making phones in China at the Apple factory? Like what were you working?
No,
Like what the hell?
It's like I'm unsure of what you call like industrial thing. I think they make zinc, the metal zinc factory.
Okay, my God, that sounds extremely inefficient for the workers. Like, why would you schedule somebody to work 2 days at 2 p.m. on, and then the other 2 days 6 a.m.? That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Because I guess I'm not sure why it was like that. This was like you always had to have someone monitoring the process, so I'm sure why it was like that. It was not great. It was funny because I like could like recognize the sleep deprivation that came during the week. Like the first day and second day, I was able to like read efficiently the poker books. Third day, I was like was able to read, and then the fourth day, I couldn't like read at all. Like my brain was just like running on fumes. because
Right.
I was sleeping maybe like 4 or 5 hours a day.
Someone said, "Have I ever had a real job?" If we define a real job as not poker, then yes, I've had a real job. I've had many jobs since I was 16 years old or 15 years old. So I quit my last job at 22, and I have not had a real job, as you might say, of 20 since 22 years old. So for the last 11 to 12 years, I have not had a real job. I believe that's to be true. So where was someone else in there? Let's see. Randy Williams, ask him how a low stakes player, 50 to 100 NL, should select a coach / how much they should pay for coaching.
Oh, this is kind of a good question. How I feel about like the traditional hourly coaching is that I think that's fucking retarded. It has the it has the wrong incentives. Coach is like not incentivized to like coach as good as possible because he wants the student to come back for more. Obviously, like probably not many people are actually thinking about that, but you have to have like incentives. So what I would do and what I personally did, what I gave action of myself for like a period in order for coaching. So then the coach is like actually incentivized to like make me as good as possible in that time frame. And how would you choose the stable? Like I don't know. There's like a lot of stables out there nowadays. There's the MMA has a stable. Then there's the B2. What's it called? B2B. They have also cash. Yeah, they have a cash game stable. I know most of the guys. Then there's like DCC Nesquik also has a stable, also in the crew. And I don't know. I'm not sure about like what are cash game stables there are. I assume like Russians are probably some, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's not an easy answer because, you know, if you want to get hourly coaching, as you mentioned, it might not be the most efficient way to get coaching. But for somebody like, you know, someone like that in the chat who asked that question, they don't really know any other way to go upon doing it. So you might hear the idea of proposing some sort of thing that incentivizes the coach, but it's kind of hard as a random person to be like, okay, I know you coach this way, but let's try to set it up like this where we give you a profit. It's just not a very typical sort of staking arrangement or coaching arrangement. So I think that if you are looking for a coach, I mean, I'd probably say 2+2 and go to the coaching session there and try to find someone that has good reviews. And if you want to do that, if you can't find something else that, you know, that Marcus talked about, maybe find something like that. But yeah, that'd probably be my way of doing it is
yeah, it's hard to like, there's like a bunch of like coaches who are actually like, there's the, what's it called? Gordon Gecko. What's it called? I don't know. One of the like weird guys.
Is this a person? Gordon Gecko? Is this an actual person?
I mean, I think that's his like poker alias or something.
Okay.
And they have a wait. I'm gonna check that. And they are like running a big stable where they're like strategy, like marketing the stable is basically like they take a huge amount of students, and then they just like when they have, let's say they have 100 students and like 5 of those are actually gets good, they are gonna like market the shit out of these 2 students. So I'm not sure what's that, but there's like probably a lot of scams out there. So I think best bet is probably like
that sounds like the model. That sounds like a casting couch, like what they do for models. They tell the model, like, listen, baby, we'll help you make it big. And then the model goes and like sucks their dick and they fuck them a few times. And then like they don't get that. I've literally seen porn created about this premise. And I know this actually does happen in real life.
Oh,
so
the name of the stable is Best Poker Coaching. I mean,
Best Poker Coaching. Listen, okay. I've actually seen this. I've seen them advertised on different sites. So
yeah.
If they want to promote some of their top students, let me know. Best Poker Coaching, and maybe we can work something out.
Yeah, if I had to recommend some stables, I would probably there's like MMA and the B2B and are probably they're definitely very good. At least the coaches in both of them.
Coaching stables. What is poker coming into? My God, there's people with stables. Jesus Christ. Ay, colamos ay, colamos, ay. What did this guy, Rod Poker? Rod Poker said, It hasn't been said. I dig the new look. I think Chicago Joey, aka Poppy's new look, puts him in the running for the new Lex Luthor. Listen, is there no one else that has a head shaved in poker? I don't understand. Like people say, like I look like a white supremacist. Like, how many people with a shaved head have you like? This is normal. Like when you shave your head, everyone looks like this. I'm telling you. Go on the street and look for people with hair like this. It's very common for people to have the same hairstyle. Trust me.
Yeah,
Trust me.
sure.
Trust me. Man. Let's have a couple more questions. Then we will.
Yeah. Let's go. A
it.
few more questions, and then I think I'm done. I need to go to sleep soon.
What did someone say? Someone has 150,000 on a table. Am I missing this table? How do I not see this?
Oh, Philosmus is crushing the game.
Oh, there's a deep stack table. Oh my God, he is crushing it. 150K, nice. Do it for Finland. What do you think? What do you think some of the most common mistakes small stakes players are making that prevent them from becoming winning players and or getting better?
This is also a good question. I'm gonna give like 2 points. First is like, okay, I already forgot the second. But first is like you have to be able to sort of have an objective view of your game. You have to have like a humility, so you can question a lot of your like lines. So you are not scared to like prove yourself making a bad line. I think you see this constantly in like microstakes players. Like they make a play which is bad, and then they try to justify themselves. Like, okay, what if this happens? What if this happens? Then it's gonna be good. Because I think they're like they don't want to admit to themselves that their line they took might have been bad. That's one thing, and I had a second in mind, like, fuck. I had a really good, but I forgot it. I'll say if that comes up. But that's like I think that's the most important one, that you have to be able to like question your every decision, and you want to strive for questioning your decisions.
Right. Okay, I like that.
Because when I kind of coach this one of my friend. He's like starting poker. Like I don't really coach, but I've been teaching him some stuff, and he has the possibility to like send me like 1,000 hand histories a day, and then he sends me like one hand history maybe every 2 weeks. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, why not take advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
I
think it has to do something with like not wanting to face the fact that you are making mistakes. It's like you feel good about your game if you're never questioning it.
Well, I think also is that I mean, if it's your friend, you probably don't want to, if you feel like your friend's that much better than you at poker, even though your friend says, hey, hit me up, I think that it's still kind of, you feel guilty a little bit. Like, I don't want to bother this person. Like they're busy playing high stakes. I don't want to bother them with my hand histories where I'm trying to learn poker. So even when you tell somebody like, hey, it's not a big deal, I think it still weighs on a lot of people. And that's why you might see something like that, where they're just reserved in terms of actually taking advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, could be.
So, Bit Too Easy gave us a shout out on the 100-200 table. He says, shout out to the pod. Shout out to Bit Too Easy as well. Might be a guy we got to listen as we're exploring more Nolan and Hold'em online players. Might have to hit him up, see if we get him on the podcast, man. That could be.
Yeah, he would definitely be interesting question.
Yeah, it's I think. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Well, we'll see. Maybe make some magic happen with more high stakes Nolan Hold'em guys here. Last thing. All right, give us one piece of life advice for the people out there.
Okay, this is a tough question. I don't know. Do what you enjoy. I think that's kind of interesting.
What if you enjoy pornography and Fortnite? Do that. Just do that.
I mean, if you actually think that's gonna make you the happiest, then sure, why not?
Yeah.
But you have to think about the long term as well.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. My number one piece of life advice right now would be to turn off your phone. Stop being on your phone so much. Try to be more mindful and present in what you're doing, and really focus on not using social media, not using your phone for a few hours a day. And that's something I'm working at right now. And trust me, it's going to allow me to crush whatever I do, even though I could probably already do it. But it is what it is. Guys in the chat, we're gonna wrap it up. That's it. Where they, if they want to follow you, got a spot to follow. You have like an Insta.
No.
Where are we giving them a call to action? Where do we want to send them to? Is that it? Where is that it? No.
No, I want to stay.
All right.
I don't have Twitter or Instagram or anything that's public.
Don't do it. Trust me. My life went downhill once I added Twitter and Instagram.
I want to stay private.
Do it. Don't do it. Trust me. Even though I met Sasha on Twitter. Shout out to Sasha.
I mean, I would have preferred to do this podcast without webcam, so no one knows who I am. But I mean,
well, listen. Now they're coming for your ass, buddy. They're gonna see you around, and they're gonna hunt you down at the grocery store in Finland.
Yeah, all the millions of fans this podcast.
Oh man! All right, listen, man. It was fun to have you on. I enjoyed the conversation, and everybody in the chat, thank you for all your comments, all your questions. Always enjoyed. Be back tomorrow with my man Ed Lattimore, self-improvement GTO wizard, heavyweight boxer. This man is. I think people are gonna love that one too. And yeah, man, if you want to follow along with Marcus Makeboifin, go to High Stakes Thread on 2+2. You can see the hand histories posted. He's on Pokerstars 4 to 5 hours a day, putting in the work and grinding. And that's it, guys. Let us know what you thought in the chat. Let us know what you think on Twitter. Make sure you like the video if you like it. And if you don't like it, then don't like the fucking video. That's it.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, guys. Peace out. Adios.